Rahim. This is Aamer Alyzaee, continuing with the lecture 5, its last stream 6. So we will be discussing advantages and disadvantages of different techniques in this slide. In this slide, we will be discussing the consumer and user survey, the advantages and the disadvantages of it. So yields accurate predictions, provides sector-wise demand forecast for different industries, especially useful for producers' goods. Requires complex and diverse calculations. It's costlier, time-consuming, and industry data may not be readily available. You have to put certain efforts into it, and even then you may not have 100% data with you. These are forecasting techniques that make use of historical quantitative data. A statistical concept is applied to the existing data in order to generate the predicted demand in the forecast period. These quantitative techniques are also known as statistical methods. So here we can use SPSS for the larger data and smart PLS for the small data ranging between 300 to 500, and it will give you the same manipulation of the results. Trend projection method, assuming that past trend will continue in future. Past trend is extrapolated. Constant message method, it is assumed that the percentage growth rate of sales between the base year and the terminal year would remain unchanged. Whereas in time series analysis, we can see the sales of the commodity over the past 15-20 years are plotted on a graph. The year to year oscillation are smoothened and a trend line is fitted using a statistical method. Trend projection method, the advantages are the very simple method, provides reasonably accurately forecast, quick and inexpensive. Disadvantages, can be used only if past data is available. It is not necessary that past trend may continue to hold good in future as well. Barometric forecasting, so we have to look at the advantages and disadvantages of barometric forecasting. Advantages are a simple method, predict directional changes quite accurately. Disadvantages are do not predict the magnitude of changes very well. So this means that barometric cannot be used for the larger analysis. The method can be used for short-term forecast only. Metric techniques, it is assumed that demand is determined by one or more variables, that is income, population or exports etc. Demand is forecast on the basis of systematic analysis of economic relation by combining economic theory with mathematical and statistical tools. So that gives the overview of the econometric. Econometric techniques also has advantages and disadvantages, produce reliable and accurate results, forecast not only the direction but also the magnitude of the change. So it means it has to be done on the bigger plotting. Disadvantages, use complex calculations, costly and time consuming. Significance of demand forecasting, useful to following decision makers, so for let's say for producers to allocate various factors of production for maximizing of profit, to plan for expansion of scale of operations, whereas the policymakers and planners can also use it to formulate economic policies through planning. Commission for allocating resources to ensure adequate supply of input for achieving the objectives of industrial policy. Import export policies, credit policies, policy distribution. So this means this can be used for different policy makers. Other groups of the society, so useful to researchers, social workers and other for the futuristic approach to understand the gap in supply and their impact on the price or the economy. So this was just an overview to have a better understanding on this particular point. With this we come to the conclusion of chapter 5, and from tomorrow we will start chapter 6 with the stream 1, and in that we will be discussing the law of return and returns to the scale, basically the economy of scale and its scope that will be discussed. So stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.